Well, let's see. There's something else I was going to ask you about. So many of these are traditional Hawaiian songs.
Yes.
And that means you have to sing them in Hawaiian.
Yes.
And so we touched on this a little bit earlier, that learning the Hawaiian language is a very difficult thing. Pronouncing it is probably just about as difficult whether you know what you're saying or not.
Yes.
And so you must have had some coaching or guidance with, somebody had to help you with this.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, the first step was to, of course, honor our kupuna and our ancestors by making sure that the language is perpetuated properly with pronunciation. And because, like I was talking earlier, I had a few occasions earlier in my career where, somebody was not ashamed to come up and say, respectfully, you sung the wrong, you pronounced the words wrong.
Yeah.
You sang it or you mispronounced it, basically. And those few occasions were very eye-opening and scary for me, and told me how important it was to make it pono or correct and right, because like most languages, or foreign languages I should say, not so much English, but there are a lot of words that if you mispronounce it, it might mean something else. In the Hawaiian language, there's a lot of words that look the same, sound the same, but it could mean just a break in the word with the okina, or saying something with the kahako and the vowels. And so I made it a point to take some Hawaiian language courses. From high school, I took some Hawaiian language, and then when I attended college, UH Hilo, I made sure I capitalized with more classes.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't keep up with the whole Olelo movement because I didn't use it.
And it's a big commitment.
It totally is.
And it's almost parallel probably to something you brought up before about not playing slack key or something, and you absolutely could, and it would not be, you'd have to devote only a little time to it to become very, facile, I would think, but I can see that, one of your real true passions is singing.
Yes.
And so you kind of, it makes more sense to do that and get the guitar to the level where it matches what you need it to do to sing.
Right.
But you don't need to. But razzle dazzle instrumentals, are not necessarily part of the equation.
No.
And
yeah, I think you nailed it. I think my true passion is the singing.
Yeah. And
whatever I choose to do on the guitar or ukulele is basically the foundation, and I sing on top of that.
Yeah.
So but I love doing instrumental stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I could do more.
Yeah.
But I think the general expectation of me from a lot of people, the fans or whatnot, they just want to hear me sing.
Well, you have a talent and a skill that you honed too, and really taken to a high level.
Yeah.
And 98% of the people who want to do that actually can't. and will not be able to that level. But they may be able to get close, and maybe be able to be very happy doing it the same way. I was always scared and just really uncomfortable with my singing, which is why I got into instrumental guitar playing and got into very complex instrumental razzle dazzle fingerstyle pieces.
Right.
But what really took me there in the first place was, well, like I showed you before, somebody might say, hey, I really like that Carpenter song, Superstar. Can you play it or something? And I'd say, sure, it goes like this. And they'd say, are you sure? I said, well, you gotta imagine it being sung. Well, sing it. I said, I can't sing that, but I could do.
Yes.
So that's why I got into instrumental playing, because I wanted to play songs that people knew and loved, but I wasn't about to sing them. So I figured out a way to become an instrumental guitar player.
Right, and I think you gotta understand your role, your abilities, your capabilities.
Yeah.
And and hopefully,
Yeah.
you know where to stop.
Well, yeah, but again, you've taken this to just such a high level of stuff that there are not many people out there doing that, and you're following the tradition of some legendary artists and singers.
There's a lot of people before me that really paved the way and inspired me. Whether they're alive or not, I still have. But the bottom line is, I'm such a fan of Hawaiian music, and I still am. All my peers that I've become close with, friends that, if I was somebody that didn't play music or go on the stage either, I would totally be fans, and I still am. And and I think I wouldn't be doing that if I wasn't, And I think even for you too, and most musicians, that if you're not a fan of it, then I don't think you will get any better or get inspired. So I think it's nice to be able to mingle with these folks and learn from other people, and wanting to continue to learn. So you got to give credit to those who came before, and there's a lot of people that are still learning as well, and it's so just mingling with these folks and admiring what they do, I think will make yourself a better artist too.
Have you started passing this on to any younger artists that are interested in this style yet, or is that still or kind of not on the radar yet? And you're still kind of cutting your own direction.
Honestly, I might as well open up about this, and I think the direction of music here in Hawaii has totally changed, and I think that's why I want to continue to do what I'm doing, is that the younger generation doing music has I would say turned their head and turned their cheek away from Hawaiian music and looked more into the contemporary side, or island contemporary, and it's more of a reggae.
I was just going to say, listening to Kappa a lot, every once in a while I'll hear some things I really like, and then it launches into stuff that is way too hip hop.
Yeah,
for
so
me,
it's and I'm not gonna lie about it. It like you said, you've been here for a week or two, and you have noticed already.
Yeah.
And, so it totally is. I haven't had that opportunity to encourage the younger generation to do Hawaiian music, just primarily for the fact that they're not interested.
Well, and I think right now you just carrying the torch is a great thing, because there are probably very few of anybody doing that's not that's not older than that's not in their 60s, 70s, 80s.
The generations. I think I have some peers around the same age as I am. I'm 34, and I honestly feel that it stopped right at my generation. Anything before me, or after me rather, are into the Island Reggae stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not mocking the style or the genre, because I enjoy all types of music.
Yeah.
But I do get a little concerned for traditional Hawaiian music. Where is it going to be after my generation grows up and has far gone? And I worry about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's precious.
Yeah. Have you met Keola?
I have not met Keola yet.
Because he and I had this conversation about 5 years ago. So before you'd done any of this stuff, and it was his concerns exactly along the same line of there was nobody. So I don't know. I hope he's heard you, and if not, I'll make sure he does.
I think I know I've been in close proximity to him.
Okay.
I know we've been at the same venues and stuff, but I haven't personally met him formally. So I'm sure he knows of me, and but I'd love to meet you, Keola, someday soon.
We'll try to work on that somehow, because he was very concerned with the future of traditional Hawaiian music, because he said nobody from anybody younger than his generation, and he's 60-ish, and is over 60, was doing this.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
And And it just so happens I'm just one of those people that actually is perpetuating
Yeah.
the art of traditional Hawaiian music or Hawaiian music in general. But yeah, I think the common, well, the Hawaiian music scene has gone that way to the more contemporary stuff.
And maybe it's that's more radio friendly or sells more ads on the radio stations or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think it's the culture has changed, the lifestyles have changed. A lot of outside influences have come in, that have grasped a lot of our younger generation, and the influence has totally changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Might have to do a reggae album that sends a message out to to instead of doing a reggae album about singing about your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend or do some reggae that has a message.
Right, that it kind of brings it back, or
which actually is more appropriate for reggae, because reggae music actually has that message,
Yeah.
about hardships and hard times and stuff.
Yeah. You have to work on the composition of that, and wording it very carefully.
Maybe you could help me.
It's funny because the song that pops into my head completely unrelated to anything we're talking about, except for the whole thing of a song that maybe appears to promote one thing, and on the other hand, is the opposite. Is J.J. Cale's song "Cocaine" that was made famous by Eric Clapton.
Okay.
Because people will hear that song and think it's like it's like singing the praises of cocaine, and it's absolutely not. But it also is not in your face, like don't ever do this. It's like you have to really pay attention to it to figure out what the heck he's saying.
Yeah.
And once you do, you say, oh man, this is a really positive message song. It's not just this glorifying drug use kind of song.
Right.
And so that's what you'd have to do here, is come up with something that glorifies, that idolizes reggae somehow, but really makes a lot of respect for Hawaiian music and makes it okay. So there's your mission. Next
That's
time I
my
see
mission.
you, let's hear how
I've actually had
that song is
some
going.
talks with some of my peers, and I say, hey, we gotta, because we hurt. I think we hurt. Seeing the domination of that kind of music, because we, as far as concerts that go on in any island that you go to, the majority will be island reggae music, and it's funny we brought this up because there's some concerts that happen annually, and they always tend to ask us Hawaiian artists to open up the show, and it might hurt a little bit.
A little condescending, or a little...
Yeah, and so it almost makes me want to ask the question, are we not headliners or mainstream, or can we headline a concert in Hawaiian music? Why do we open up a show as Hawaiian, traditional Hawaiian music acts? Yeah. So it's hard sometimes to.
Yeah, you're taking a back seat there.
Yeah, and we don't want to focus too hard on that because it does hurt a little bit.
Right.
Because we work just as hard to perpetuate and want to be heard, want to be respected, but. That's kind of it's a touchy situation.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just gonna continue to do what I do and spread the word. Yeah. Spread the message.
Well, it seems like you're getting quite a following, and I know it's big here in the islands, and obviously, not obviously, but big in Japan as well, for an interesting reason. Of course, you're Japanese,
yes,
and so they love to have. I'm sure they'd love to have you come back home and bring Hawaiian music there.
Japan is a totally.
They have to be very proud of you.
I think I've gotten a good response from the Japanese folks up there in Japan. And, Yeah, I think we have some sort of a pride going on with, you know, with me being Japanese and me doing the music that they actually love and support.
And I would think in Japan, you know, traditional stuff is still more important than on a lot of levels. You know, whether it's just even traditional Hawaiian music, but I mean, you know, traditions in that country run very deep and very strong.
Yes.
You know, whereas here they're you know not quite as deeply rooted. I think. I mean, well,
I think fortunately for Japan that their population is so large, you know, that they still have the ability to continue on with traditional, you know, behaviors and interests. Mm-hmm. Because you know, Japan is being westernized, or I should say, being influenced by you know the Western culture. But Japan has totally have their interest in Hawaiian music, like very heavily.
So that's got to be fun for you to make trips over there occasionally, because the shows have to be well attended, and I'm sure you're very well received and things.
Yeah, Japan's been very kind and supportive to what I do.
Yeah.
And I visit Japan more than I do the mainland. And
so that brings me, well, you know what? Before we go there, let's play another traditional Hawaiian song.
Okay.
Before we head off, anything else from that album, or should we want to play something from Le Maile?